I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, January the 8th, 2016. The Arab-Israeli terrorist who murdered 3 people exactly 1 week ago today in Tel Aviv has been shot and killed by Israeli special forces. Nashat Milham was named as the shooter who murdered 2 Israeli men in a bar in Tel Aviv last Friday and then murdered a Bedouin cab driver about an hour later as he fled the scene. Large numbers of police had been searching for Milham in Tel Aviv, as well as in the West Bank and in northern Israel, in particular near the town of Arara, where he was from. Israel's security agency, the Shin Bet, had reportedly recently received intel that Milham was hiding in a building in Wadi Ara near his hometown. Special agents surrounded the building this afternoon. Milham spotted the team and opened fire at the Israeli forces, reportedly with the same submachine gun he used in the Tel Aviv attacks. He was then shot and killed by the Israeli agents. Israel's Channel 2 reports that the Shin Bet was investigating whether Milham was part of an Islamic State cell. This reportedly based on interrogations of several people who were arrested for allegedly helping Milham. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised the work of the forces who brought down the terrorists today, and Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon said the actions taken prove once again that the state of Israel will hunt down those who seek to harm it. Earlier today in Tel Aviv, local media and residents of the city reported on a large number of police officers once again converged on the city and on inspection checkpoints that had been set up at a number of locations. Police emphasized at the time that there had been no specific threat made to the region, and the surge in police presence is thought to have been linked to the manhunt that was then still ongoing for Milham. 3 Palestinians who tried to stab IDF soldiers in the West Bank last night were shot and killed. The terrorists had tried to attack the soldiers with knives at the Gush Etzion junction. They were aged 18 to 19 and all said to be members of the same family from the town of Sa'ir, north of Hebron. An indictment was filed today against 2 Arab Israelis linked to terror group Hamas, who allegedly had plans to assassinate the prime minister. Ynet reports that 22-year-old Chazem Sanduka and 19-year-old Fadi Abu Kian are suspected of helping a Hamas operative in a plan that involved placing an explosive under a stage where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was scheduled to deliver a speech. The 2 were charged with belonging to a terror organization, aiding an enemy during wartime, contact with a foreign agent, and other offenses. The Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations announced a new member of their team. Michael Sahlberg has been appointed to the newly created position at the conference, Director, International Affairs Policy and Planning. Sahlberg, who previously served as Director of International Affairs for the Anti-Defamation League, will give strategic direction and planning for several of the conference's national task forces, including those on Iran, U.S.-Israel relations, and the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, as well as oversee the agenda for the conference's UN committee. Conference Chairman Stephen Greenberg and CEO Malcolm Hoenlein said the changing dynamics of the Middle East and the growing BDS movement were just some of the challenges that demanded to be addressed with this new position, and that they were very pleased to have someone with Sahlberg's experience and background to help lead those efforts. And staying with the Conference of Presidents, its leaders, together with those of B'nai B'rith International, announced that they will join with leaders of the American Hellenic Educational Progressive Association and American Hellenic Institute on a visit to Israel, Greece, and Cyprus. The 12-member delegation will convene in Jerusalem this Sunday, January the 10th through the 13th, then continue to Nicosia and on to Athens. The goal is to explore possibilities for further developing cooperation and understanding between the countries on issues like security, energy, economics, and political. The conference's Greenberg and Hoenlein will represent on this significant mission, and B'nai B'rith will be represented by its president, Gary Saltzman, executive vice president, Daniel Mariashin, and World Center director, Alan Schneider. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, January the 8th at 7:30, Hazamir Corral's concert from Kfar Saba. At 8 o'clock, former Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz talks about the American legal system, his most famous cases, and Israel in a program of the UJA and JCC of Greenwich, Connecticut at the Greenwich Library. At 9 tonight, the film Magical Israel lets you share in the history and beauty of the country, starting in Jerusalem. At 10 o'clock, a focus on Israeli innovator Yossi Vardi, and at 10:30, Musica with funky music. And don't forget, live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 tonight from New York City's Central Synagogue. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.